Hey, we are live.
Hi,
Hi,
everyone.
Anna. Hi,
Everyone.
Dimitri.
Hi,
Hi there.
Vlada. Hi,
Hi there, Nick.
Dmitry. How are you
Nice to see
today?
you.
Happy
I'm
Friday.
great, thank you.
Happy Friday. Are you guys ready to wind down? Are you winding
And
down? Hi,
We were debating on
everyone.
the name.
Yeah. Just want to say hi to our viewers and listeners. I'm Anna, a co-host of the show. I'm the founder of English for IT. We teach English and soft skills. We teach tech professionals English and soft skills around the globe. And my co-host is Vlada. She's going to introduce herself in a minute. And we have a special expert guest today. Vlada, over to you.
Sure. Hi, guys. Winding Down was a beautiful and amazing group here today. I am a CEO and founder of ClassTag, mentor, and tech investor as well. And what we're going to talk about today is something that each of us needs to really think through for 24 and for our future success in general. So it's very top of mind for me, and I hope it's top of mind for you. And today we have someone who is truly a mind-blowing expert on this subject. And that expert is Dmitry, who I had a pleasure to meet maybe about a year ago now, when I was thinking about my 2023 planning and plans. And Dmitry is a subject matter in that and a variety of very futuristic topics and skills development as well. So I'll let Dmitry introduce himself.
your mother. And well, I started as a social engineer and psycholinguist. So basically, my main field of interest is the connection between the brain and our speech in general. But since I was invited in the Singularity University in Kiev in 2018, I started to work with data science and natural language processing, which lead me to the position of learn and development at our company that specializes in basically turning everything into an education course. I mean, any subjective uh, experience written in audio, in video, in text into an educational course. We're called Smart Expert.
Amazing.
That's
Well, we are
thank you.
exactly looking for a smart expert for this very important
Who
topic
doesn't?
of future ready learning, right?
Who doesn't? Who
So
isn't looking for smart experts? Yeah. Welcome,
well,
Dimitri. Is
thank
there
you,
anything
thank
that you
you.
would like to share right off the bat with our audience?
Uh, so yes, after a few years of working with huge enterprise, I just understood that basically enterprise is now probably the most important part of our education. I mean, after we finish up with the school, with the university or whatever, we start to enter the corporate world, and depending on which company we start with, it really in certain way figures our goals, our own mission, our vision, because we're getting connected to the values of the company. So when we're talking about lifelong learning, we're really getting connected to the corporate educational systems we're in. And I think that's from one side, it's really interesting because, well, enterprise is focused on money making, and we all try to actually be good at it. But on the other hand, there is such thing as, our values as human beings, and that's not what enterprise normally is focused on. Well, some of course are, but some aren't, and that's you know point of discussion, I would say.
Yeah, this is very insightful because that's why your first job or first career move after college is so critical because that really sets you on a path, not only from a career trajectory perspective, but from your learning perspective, and what you learn in those still formative years, right, is really is going to impact you for years and years to come.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. And I
exactly.
can totally relate to what you just said because so what my company does, we actually provide this workforce development and learning solutions to enterprises, right? And I have come across so many companies that actually do not believe in in-house education for employees. That is actually do not support the culture as much as they should, or maybe not support at all. And yeah, sometimes it's like even in 2023 and now technically 2024, you have to kind of explain to C-level executives that this is really necessary because this is what your workforce needs. And yeah, and this is the educate, like some kind of a continuous learning environment that you have to create for your team and for your company. So, Dmitry, what do you do exactly when you work with the enterprises? How do you make sure, or like, how can enterprises make sure that they have this culture of continuous education and continuous learning?
Well, first of all, I think that every enterprise should at least think about such thing as a job upskill road, because basically with the development of AI and other technologies, some positions in companies are getting just not, they're not working anymore as supposed to. Some are taken by the AI, some are completely replaced, some are just getting too old to be even there. So there is actually a thing that's called the job upskill route. I don't know. I've showed an
Yeah.
image to Vlada. Maybe she can share it
Yeah.
right now. And it basically shows what types of professions gonna go in the next few years, which gonna stay, and for how
Interesting.
long.
What are they?
And some professions, of course, are just in the beginning of their of their journey.
Can you
And
guys see my screen?
I
yeah,
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 it's very
that's it.
small.
Very
If you
small.
can get if you can make some parts of it a little bit closer, would be much more informative.
Or
But I would
uh,
say
just
that
make it full size, full screen. Yeah, perfect.
since I don't know, virtual experience specialist is something that is just a beginning of someone's professional journey, and that's definitely a profession of the future. And there's also one interesting trend that we can see for last at least 5-6 years already, that people are not and will be not more working at one job for their lifetime. I mean, they will not be specialized on something one for their lifetime as it was like 20 years ago.
So you mean like the person is going to be, let's say, will have like several careers throughout their life, or are they going to be able to work in several careers at the same time?
I would say both. I would say both, actually. For example, I can even take myself. I started as a tutor. I was teaching people how to speak in public, how to negotiate, and all that stuff. That is still relevant for now, and it's gonna be relevant. I hope so. But in like 5 years, 6 years, I promoted myself to more technological things and started as a data scientist because I had something on my mind that like one day I will be able to copy my knowledge and basically create a replica of myself, create my own digital twin that will be able to do the same thing as a consultant, as a person who's teaching other people. And that was the goal. And basically, right now, I'm much more
Sorry to
focused
interrupt.
on yeah, I'm much more focused on teaching my own replica. I mean, I work more with my digital twin than with my actual clients because my digital twin is kind of performing the same stuff I was doing before, but already with my clients.
What is your
So
digital twin like?
it's just the same as me. It looks
Okay.
the
Mm.
same. It can talk English much better than I do. And actually, it can talk any language. Like we have 60 languages in our database. And I would say that at least 60, 70% of my knowledge in social science is already uploaded in his virtual brain. And
What are you
he
gonna
can,
do? What are you gonna do if your twin is gonna do everything for you?
I think I'm gonna develop much more AI powered twinks and of specialists in different fields. Of course, I want
I'm
people
joking, of
to,
course.
in 2019, I was holding a speech. It was some sort of technological forum. I was with this on the same stage with President Zelensky, and actually, I was talking about AI powered, specialists in different fields. It sounded kind of like magic, and I was asked the same question: what you gonna do when like
Mhm.
AI will replace you? And my answer was like AI gonna replace us anyway. It's just up to our position where we will be in that moment. Will we cry outside saying like the goddamn robot took my life, took my job, and whatever? Or we gonna be those people who actually program those AIs and are the owners of those AI twinks that gonna do our work while we can spend our time for something better. I really believe that people should live a bit more free than we live now. I mean, working 9 to 5 makes no one happy.
And Dimitri, what I guess what technology are you using, just practically speaking, for folks who are so inspired by your twin creating experience that they want to repeat it for themselves? How would they
Well,
do it?
r- well, right now we're kind of mixed, using kind of mixed technologies. We are connected, of course, to GPT. We're also connected to several, uh, similar AI models. Meanwhile, our database is connected to, let's say, few sources where are more than 100,000 different courses on different topics. And our platform has generated already 2,000 of educational courses by itself. So that's let's say the database plus every company that is our client is actually creating their own corporate AI brain. So what we're doing right now, we take, for example, a top ranking specialist in any field, and we perform a few deep interviews for that person. After that, after we receive that data, we give it to our AI and it transforms it into a clear micro learning course. And we can visualize them with any avatar. Basically, I can replace my avatar on yours, Vlada, and you're gonna say exact my thoughts, but it gotta be something with your appearance. So it just works this way. So we can change languages, we can change the look of the avatars, and we have also an AI that supports the students or employees on their onboarding process, or if it's a school on their learning process. Uh, and it changes if some info updates inside the company or in the outer world, let's say. It guides like a coach, like a trainer, through the all stages of this course that was actually AI created. So we're focused on basically two fields:
Yeah.
is automating onboarding and automatic learning by with the help of AI.
Yeah, and I think on an individual level, if you don't have access to sort of enterprise tools like that as a corporation, you with the new release from OpenAI and GPTs that you can develop yourself. If you are a published writer, if you have podcasts, if you have a lot of published materials, you can load that up into your own GPT and have it access that knowledge first, right, to inform whatever you are creating. So I think these tools are starting to be available now as well to everyday people, even if they don't have any specialized tools.
It's very actually quite interesting because yesterday I have a published book. It's not a fiction book. It's a textbook, English for Tech. And yesterday I was updating my Amazon account with the new copy of the book. And guess what I saw there? Amazon added the new another field, a new field there, and it asks you if your content is AI generated. It wasn't there a year ago, so now technically, if you're uploading any publication, any writing work on Amazon, you have to tell them if this is AI or not AI generated. Pretty interesting, right? We're gonna have even more content if this is the case. I don't actually know what happens if you like pick the AI generated. Because my work isn't, but I guess the readers will know that as well. So this is pretty cool, I guess. We live in a world where companies will have to think of like new regulations too with this new emerging tech coming out. I actually wanted to turn our conversation around to just like a regular person who is working on their continuous learning, right? Not just the corporations who are like taking care of their employees' learning curve here. So Dmitry, what are your top 3 things that you personally do to upgrade yourself, to upskill yourself as a I don't know, human being, as a professional? What are your top 3 go-tos when it comes to continuous learning?
It's a wonderful question. Thank you. Well, first of all, I think we have to build a habit to learn. That's the most important thing because most of people are constantly busy. We're, running everywhere, and normally, even when it comes to educating ourselves, we're like, oh, I don't have time for this. I'm too busy. I have to make money. I have to whatever. And so the first step that I did like more than 15 years ago that I put on my time management scale, just in a calendar, a few time slots for educating myself. Depending, of course, on how busy I am and such, etc., it may be from 2 hours a week to 6, 7 hours a week. Like I try to keep that level when I have at least 1 hour in a day to learn something. That's important. The other thing that, on my opinion, is important that there are certain agents of changes in every period of time. And right now, at least for last 5, 6, 7 years, we're talking about technologies, of course. There are so-called exponential technologies. There are basically 8 of them. Some other experts mention 9, but whatever, these are those top performing technologies that are growing, on an exponential field like for last years. We're talking, of course, about AI. We're talking, of course, about augmented reality or virtual reality, robotics, digital engineering, autonomous vehicles, big data, blockchain, um, and I believe that everybody should, at least look at that direction and get some expertise in that. I didn't mention 3D printing, of course. That's also one of those exponential technologies. So we have to at least to watch in that direction because those are the things that are going to change everything around us in the next 10 years, of course. I'm pretty sure that there will be some newer technologies that gonna, be added to that list. And if we take a look at that job upskill road we just showed on the screen, most of the future professions are somehow connected to those technologies. So if you want to be updated, you have to learn how to update yourself on the technological field. So I would say the next step after you understand which technologies you can be matched with, for example, I'm a linguist. I'm a person who was always working with the speech, with languages, and such, etc. So of course, AI was a field of my interest because, well, obviously, it's the only technology that is somehow connected to how
Mhm.
we speak, how we pronounce. But when I was talking to my father, for example, that is still doing sometimes business, and he was like, "Okay, I was looking at 3D printing, and it's so cool. I have a few business ideas I would like to start with." And he's an engineer, by the way. So, of course, I believe that every person can find the link between his current profession, that technology, and the future profession he should probably move to in next 5, 7, maybe 10 years. So I would say after getting that time slot and after understanding that connection between your current profession and technology is just understanding the job road where you want to be. And then you can just browse through multiple courses. We have, a lot of platforms that can offer you uh, trainings in basically any field. If you want to go to understand the 3D printing or AI or virtual reality, there's always a starting point between those experts that offer you courses and trainings.
Yeah.
That is that.
Yeah, no, I think that that's really important. And I think that even if there are obviously different points of view and variety of breakthroughs like we are experiencing now, and certainly, I think at least in our lifetime, the pace of change is unprecedented, right? And I think that it's really been in the making for those people in the know and close to these technologies. It's been in the making for decades, right? It just the mainstream applications of that just came through, and it's like, oh, all of a sudden everything is AI in the last year. But reality is, it's been a decade that people have been working on making that happen. I think one question that is really top of mind for me is how to understand that learning path, right? And I think when you talk about technologies, that I get it, right? That sort of makes sense because you're saying, well, if I'm in this line of work and I want to learn something about 3D printing, so I'm going to go and learn about that, right? But if you are, let's say, a employee now, maybe you are head of sales or marketing manager or whatnot, and you're saying, hey, one day, year from now, 2 years from now, I want to be the CEO. I want to run my own business, right? Or I want to make a leap that is sort of quite different, not from a technology standpoint, but maybe from a, I guess, functional standpoint altogether. So how do you build that learning path? Do you have any advice or thoughts about really understanding where your skills gaps are, or how to help a person become aware of those gaps to move forward?
It's a fantastic question, Vlada. Thank you. Um, and it's really hard to answer because, well, I believe that we are really very, very different. I don't believe in that statement that, you can teach everybody everything. We have differences in our culture, in our, form of we see this world, how we take it. And I can see people that are successful entrepreneurs and building great companies even without having any formal business education. I mean, at all. They're just doing it somehow intuitive. And I'm always wondering how they even manage to do it. I mean, there are people that are doing MBAs that are constantly learning everything that is concerning business and business strategies and people management and time management and task management and all that. And those guys, without doing nothing, they just start multi-billion companies with thousands of people working, and you're just how? So I believe there is no obvious answer that you can go learn this, do that, and you're successful. Otherwise, everyone would be successful. But still, uh, if we look at certain data of the workforce, I mean, what skills are really required for the market in most fields? we can see that there are two, let's say, uh, two areas of growth. The first area, as I already mentioned, is the technological area. I won't go back there. Obviously, the more we work with technologies, the more we communicate through the screen, the more screen time we have because we're constantly using our phones, the more data we consume, the less social we are. And that's proven on scientific field. So basically, our social skills and the consumption of data and screen time are very strong connected.
Right.
And once we go in one area, the other drops.
Right. Inverse relationship. Right.
Yeah, in a worse relationship. Yeah, correct. So I would say that if you are good at technological area, if you are great in programming, or you're just understanding how the AR thing works or AI thing works or whatever, the next area, or maybe actually the first area you should be focused on is actually soft skills. And um, Obviously, you should have some practical skills. Obviously, you have some basic knowledge in the field you're working, but autonomy, teamwork, creativity, focus, concentrations, consistency, flexibility, perseverance, empathy, self-awareness. That's all you should, have as some sort of, you know, these are fundamentals. You can
Yeah.
just go on without them.
Yeah. And I think what you said is rings true when I think about the entrepreneurs I know or some blueprint for success, because obviously the best way to understand what to do is to analyze the people who arrived, right, and see kind of backward engineer that. And I think there is inverse correlation also in a way of the more you know, the less you actually want to become entrepreneur, because your risk tolerance just deteriorates, and you understand, hey, my chances to succeed are 5% or whatever, a single digit percent. And so no person in a sane mind would actually go forward with that plan given the
That's
odds.
true. Yeah, that's true. I mean, the smarter you are and the more data you have in your head, you're just like, oh, I'm not going there.
Right. Anya, how did you take leap into entrepreneurship? Did
Um,
you didn't know
for
how
me,
hard it's gonna be?
for me, it was it was destiny. Yeah, well, I mean, I was super young. I was like 20 years old, 21 when I started, just turned 21. So technically, for me, it was just like a game, I guess. Right. So I didn't know it was something serious. I was just like a child experimenting in the candy shop, with different candies. If I think if you are like legit adult, and legit mature, that would be like a more difficult decision, a tougher decision to make. But personally, I can say that if you want to be an entrepreneur, and if you have fears to become an entrepreneur, you're not going to make it. And because pretty much I believe that entrepreneurs, nowadays, because it's so easy to see how other people are building their businesses, right? And because of social media and because of like the internet, and everything seems to be like super easy. Pretty much everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, but I don't believe that everyone should be an entrepreneur, because a lot of people are amazing executives, and a lot of people get confused by all this like I don't know how to call this, like
Shiny,
yeah,
shiny.
like trying to like flare, like everything. They get confused and they actually ruin their careers. And I believe that in some way it's like also ruining your life, because people are getting like people become unhappy, but there are so many fears that we have, like fear of failure. Like once we start doing something, there's fear of failure. There's like fear of judgment. There's like, all these things that you end up not doing what you are supposed to do, what would make you happy. So yeah, so honestly, I believe that becoming an entrepreneur, this is definitely something that uh, that you need a lot of risk, and like you have to like that, like kind of being like a risk taker. And of course, the reason why we're here is about being a lifelong learner, right? And I actually had a quick question too, be like about being, so you mentioned all these technologies, right? That and I do agree that we have to tap into all this new tech. And when 2 years ago I was like super much invested in Web3 and blockchain, people were like, some people were laughing like, crypto, haha, it's so hyped. But no, I was invested in blockchain and Web3, not in crypto. I mean, invested my time into like, how to leverage this technology for education. And I did build something related to education. We build a certification, a credential platform for my courses, so people can get a blockchain verified certification when they complete, so their credentials. And back then I'm like, this is like something that I'm curious to learn. And now, for example, I mean, I'm not a super expert, but like, I know something. So for you, Dmitry, what's the best way for people to tap into these new tech, like you said, new emerging top tier tech, just to kind of make yourself familiar with it, and I don't know, maybe potentially choose a career for this? Like, what do you like personally do, or what should people do? Is it like learning, self-learning on YouTube, or taking courses, or getting mentors, or I don't know, reading books?
Thank you. Well, see, well, when I just started with data science and the natural language processing, I started with a few courses from, I think it was Coursera or something. Uh, these were some very basic, very simple, very short courses that were basically explaining just the fundamentals of what it is and how it works. The next step, when I understood, uh, let's say, some general level, I proceed to learn and like to find and then to go on with more narrow courses that were typically longer and with some focus on certain areas and fields with practice. And after that, I was searching for people who were actually pioneers in this field and try to communicate with them, to go into some form of mentorship or like anything works while you stay in touch with the person who's on top of the knowledge in that field. And that's quite a typical path for me. It works the same for me when I was um, developing myself as a public speaker or as a communication expert. And I believe that's actually the easiest way because there is no other type of spreading the knowledge but finding yourself a good teacher and a good person that is guiding you through the industry or the technology or whatever it is. Of course, now, since we do have the AI tool, we have multiple ways, like, you can get a YouTube, you can analyze the YouTube, you can ask the AI to extract the most important things from YouTube and
Well,
form it
first you have to
into
learn how to do it. That's a challenge.
yeah,
That's a
yeah, but
challenge that a lot of people cannot overcome when they're learning something.
yeah, what I'm often doing now, I use our own technology. I just take a book, for example, in something, I upload it into our system and ask it to create a micro learning course on that book.
How do you
And it
upload it?
transforms. We have our own technology right now. It's almost
Is it
open.
legal? Is it like
Yeah, it's legal.
copyright
It's legal.
infringement?
Yeah, of course.
Like,
Yeah. Well. I'm not sharing it anywhere. I'm just making life easier for myself. I'm making a micro learning course from a book. It may be like 15 lessons, 20 lessons, 30 lessons. It's all like 5 minutes a lesson with some practice, with some tests. And the AI actually guides me through every lesson, asking me those questions, testing me, making
yeah,
like
but just
performance tests.
my question is
And
like, is it okay? Like, would the book author would be okay for you like doing this?
I'm not sharing this information.
Okay.
I'm not making it public.
If
I'm
you
just
use
using
it
it for myself.
commercially, then you would need
Yeah,
the.
I'm not using it commercially. I'm just using it for myself to make be a better performer at learning and
Yeah,
at
I understand, but
understanding
like
what the
how
author
would
was
AI
mentioning.
know that you're not going to use it commercially? I'm just like curious how, how they build it around it. Like for
Uh,
example, you build your own AI and like you build it
okay.
with your like you're not using any chat GPT, I don't know, Bing, blah blah blah, like anything that OpenAI created. It's like
Well,
your
that's a
own.
good,
They are still using it on the back end.
So that's what I'm saying.
I'm
Like, is because like right now, if you're like, for example, yesterday I wanted to create a banner, and I wanted to create it in Cubism style, right? And
okay.
I said Cubism, so it was like okay, and then it's like make it similar to what Picasso was doing, like later Picasso was doing, and
Yeah.
then AI told me, hey Anna, I cannot replicate later Picasso, but I'm going to use, and then it just like created its own prompt describing later Picasso paintings. Like it's going to be dark and red colors, and it's going to be shapes, and it's going to be like crazy, some like crazy stuff. And yeah, it looked like very similar to later Picasso, but like that's what like, and this is not the first time, especially when I'm creating art with the AI. Because I want to like make it Matisse look like or something like that. So that's what it told me. That's why I'm curious. Like when you're trying to do something like this, is it gonna tell you anything like, okay, we're gonna do this for you, but please don't like share it with anyone else. Don't charge Vlada for this course because she has to. She has to create her own AI. And do
That that's a great question. Actually, I'm a big fan of Rafael Capurro. It's an expert in the so-called digital ethics or information ethics. And I don't have a answer on this question actually right now. I mean, of course, uh, when we talk about AI and when we talk about certain, mm, let's say, structured information that got a copyright of some author, of course, we can, well, make some limitations here. But otherwise, if the AI doesn't know that that's a book of somebody, and basically you can turn anything into a product. And of course, in the closest future, we're gonna have a lot of conversations about, ethics and robotics, um, informational culture in digital age in general, and that's another field for new jobs, actually.
Yes,
absolutely
absolutely.
new
Will take,
regulations. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, new regulation, new experts, new jobs. So
Yeah,
yeah, another reason to learn such things, because
yeah,
in a few years.
Totally.
absolutely. Well, I think we are moving towards the
Running out of time.
wind down. But I did want to do a lightning round of questions. Dmitry is also a great expert in uh, public speaking. And I think as we talk about the future ready learning, it's certainly one of those skills, again, inversely related to more technology we use, the worse we are in speaking, communicating, including public speaking of all kinds. And so I wanted to ask you, Dmitry, what are your top three pieces of advice for someone who's looking to improve their public speaking abilities?
Um, I would say the first advice is to reduce your screen time, because the more you look and the more you listen, the less you actually understand and basically communicate. That's probably the first advice. The second one is, of course, that we are all in fear of public speaking. That's normal. I mean, in 15 years, by doing it in certain countries, I haven't met a single person that was like, "Oh, I love public speaking. I just, only the professionals." Yeah, because
It's me. I love public speaking.
I do too. But we are in some way, changed. It's like I often compare public speaking with some form of extreme sport arts. There are people that totally enjoy snowboarding or jumping with parachutes or skydiving, whatever. So it's the same thing. I mean, before you actually start to love it, you have to pass this path of fear,
Of
hate
resistance.
sometimes, resistance. Yeah, correct. And so the only way you can truly enjoy the public speaking is change your own perception and look at it at some form of extreme sport art. Once you do, you have to practice, and actually, the world gives us a lot of opportunities for that. I mean, like 15 years ago, 20 years ago, public speaking, like for the most of the world, it was kind of elite skill. I mean, TV hosts, celebrities, politicians. This was very not really wide, let's say, a list of professions who were actually doing public speaking. Nowadays, we have the social media, we have, broadcasts like this, and everybody can participate. I know that most people are in fear of that, but that's the only way to develop is to go on and talk and talk and talk and talk. Of course, there are courses, trainings, experts, and all that, and of course, most of them gonna help. But the only thing that gonna work is actually doing that in any form. And that's it. No magic, no magic pill, no nothing. Sorry.
No silver bullet here, but practice,
Yeah, no,
practice, and practice. Yes.
great,
Learning by doing.
great.
Yes,
Yeah.
The
absolutely.
best always.
And do we want to close with the question, which is what Dimitri is the most excited to learn in 2024?
Oh, wow. Most exciting to learn in 2024.
Vlada knows how to wrap up the show.
I know. Learning by
Like,
doing, right?
learning by doing. Yeah, that's a great question. But as I already told, I believe that everyone should build their own, path to learning something that gonna help them in 2024. Right now, I'm actually focused on entrepreneurship because uh, I was always more like an expert and less as an entrepreneur. And smart expert and content builder, our current projects, they are only like 9 months old here in the US, and it's a whole new experience for me. I was doing a lot of consulting for businesses around the world, in Eastern Europe, in EU, a little bit in the United States, but I was never in a role of an entrepreneur. I'm quite happy that I have two partners that can take part of the pain from me, and they actually like to do what I hate to do. But right now, I'm focused on some entrepreneurship skills, mainly on organizing business structures and in client acquisition. These are my field of growth. Of course, I keep on learning with the AI stuff because that's also part of my job. And obviously, for people like me who are like not native speakers, they have to work on the language. So by saying that, I mean that I guess every one of us have to find their own weak points, let's say bottlenecks, and that's actually a great point to develop yourself in 2024.
Well, Dmitry, of course, you're welcome to take any of my English courses. We do have courses for, for tech professionals, but also communication in tech, power skills in tech, anything, English related. So I'll be happy to share some material with you. So that your 2024 language goal is checked off at the end of the year. Well, hopefully not at the end of the year, in the first quarter of the year.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
there
That's
are
a good
some
plan.
actually great courses about sort of how to sound like a native speaker as well, right? So it goes kind of beyond that as well, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, lots of exciting tips and things to put in our 2024 plans
Roadmap.
and roadmap. The roadmap, exactly. There's a continuous deployment in tech, right? There is a continuous
Vlada,
deployment.
you speak like a real tech bro. There is a deployment in tech on the
Let's
roadmap.
continuously deploy. Exactly. Well, thank you guys. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. Thanks,
Right.
Dmitry, for finding the time.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Vlada. Thank you, Anna.